Hey class, welcome. All right, we're going to start this journey with part one, the structure of the retail industry. Retail merchandising. As consumers, we have needs and wants that we often fulfill through the purchase of services and products. Instant gratification is often achieved through the ease in which products can be purchased. We see an item and we like the item because it resolves a problem. Let's take, for example, someone who enjoys working out, but finds it a bit hard to focus once they begin to get sweaty. This person would find moisture-wicking fabrics to be a plus and resolve their problem, as the fabric would pull the moisture away from their body, helping them to feel more dry and comfortable. Items that we buy also satisfy our wants. We are able to make purchases with minimal effort, but not often do we consider what happens prior to the item reaching the store. A series of functions completed at different stages result in goods reaching their ultimate destination, the consumer. So goods go from production to the hand of the consumer through the marketing channel, more commonly known as the supply chain. This process follows the distribution of products from the manufacturer to the consumer. The supply chain consists of four channel members, each performing different functions. The chain begins with the producer, also known as the manufacturer, who converts materials and other components into finished goods or products. Finished goods are purchased by wholesalers in bulk and then resold to retailers. Retailers then impose a markup on the products and resell them to the consumer. Let's use a classic piece of clothing, the t-shirt, and work it through the marketing channel. The producer uses cotton fabric to produce the t-shirts. The wholesaler purchases the t-shirts in bulk from the producer and then resells them to the retailer, who imposes a markup on the t-shirts and sells them to the consumer. The ultimate consumer, you and I, want to consume goods immediately at a good price. What can be done to minimize the time products spend in the distribution pipeline? How can retailers pass down savings to consumers? Can a member of the chain be eliminated or bypassed? Streamlining distribution by eliminating or bypassing the wholesaler has benefits for both the retailer and the consumer. Time is money, and both are at the core of success for any business. It is important to have products at the right time. Particularly in fashion, retailers must be able to quickly stock their shelves with the most sought-after items when they are in demand. Each channel member imposes a markup that is passed down from one member to the next. Markups are imposed to cover operating expenses such as the facility, staff, equipment, and materials. The retailer is able to cut costs by purchasing directly from the producer rather than the wholesaler. By doing this, they eliminate the markup that they would have incurred if they would have purchased from the wholesaler. These cost savings can then be passed down to the consumer. Can you think of a time when you have purchased directly from the producer rather than the retailer to save on costs. Here's a few examples of how we can do that as consumers. Purchasing jewelry directly from a jeweler rather than a retail chain such as Kay Jewelers or Jared's or even Robbins Brothers. Also, perhaps purchasing furniture directly from, let's say, Ashley's Furniture versus Mathis Home. Vertical integration allows a company to streamline its operations by taking direct ownership of various stages of its production process. So rather than outsourcing, companies own suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, and or retail locations. So with vertical integration, channel members perform more than one function as a means to increase their channel control and to obtain fiscal gain. Producers will vertically integrate by selling their products directly to consumers via manufacturer-sponsored specialty stores, also known as signature stores. Tory Burch, Zara, Luxottica, and Steve Madden are just a few examples of producers who vertically integrate. Through vertical integration, these producers can achieve efficiency, control cost, quality, and profit margin. Savings can be passed down to the consumer. Retailers can vertically integrate by creating private labels for exclusive distribution within their stores. Target and Macy's have numerous private label brands that are sold exclusively in their stores. So, retail organizational structures. An organizational chart, also known as an org chart, showcases an organization's corporate structure. It refers to the company's hierarchy, its different functions, and how the company is departmentalized. At the top of the chain are the executives. So the chairman, president, or chief executive officer, CEO, followed by their subordinates such as the chief financial officer, CFO, or the human resources executive. The larger the organization, the more functions are segmented as specialized functions. Macy's would have multiple buyers for each division rather than one. Within the children's wear division, you may have a buyer specifically for tops, then one for bottoms. This may even be broken down further by the age demographic of the child. So, for example, infants, toddlers, big kids. So, Paul Musar has an organizational structure that he developed back in 1927. His structure still remains pretty much at the core of most retail tables of organization. Musar's organization structure entails four major functions: merchandising, publicity, control, and store management. The merchandising function's responsibility is to procure merchandise that will be resold to consumers. Merchandising functions were primarily performed by the buyers. Mazar identified buying and selling as related activities. Hence, a proposition was made for a merchandising function that includes both procurement and sales floor activities. As retail chains began to emerge, buying became a centralized corporate level function, meaning all buying is performed at the corporate headquarters rather than at each individual store. The publicity function's responsibility is to market goods through advertising, displays, and other promotional vehicles to stimulate sales. The control function responsibility is the organization's finances. So this includes accounts payable, accounts receivable, and payroll. The store management function's responsibility includes sales support, facilities management, and warehouse functions. Throughout the years, Mozart's plan has been enhanced due to industry growth to include geographically designed pyramids of regions and districts, personnel, and information systems. Here's an image of Mozart's organizational structure. In this image, you can see how the chain of command would fall within a retail organization. So line and staff functions. So organizational functions are placed into two categories. We have the line function, which performs mainstream activities fundamental to an organizational mission. And then we have the staff function, which would support or advise line functions and or other staff functions, but is not directly involved in an organization's mainstream activities. Oftentimes, conflict is among staff and line managers as they each hold different managerial perspectives. The text provides a common example of conflict between a store manager and buyer regarding a monthly sales goal. The store manager has a more exclusive perspective on the demographics and the consumer profile of their store. Hence, they may find the product assortment does not meet the needs of their consumer, while the buyer may disagree and cite merchandise, presentation, or staffing issues as the root cause of poor sales. Meet me over in part 2 of this lecture to continue our discussion on retail merchandising.